The air in the room was thick with tension. Judah's plea, his offer to sacrifice his own freedom for that of his youngest brother, hung in the silence. The 10 brothers stood terrified before the Egyptian governor, awaiting a judgment they felt they surely deserved. They had been tested, and their character had been laid bare. And Joseph, the powerful lord of Egypt, who had orchestrated this entire drama, had finally seen enough. The walls he had built around his heart for 22 years could no longer contain the storm of emotion within. He could not control himself before his attendants. He cried out, "Have everyone leave me." And so, no one stood with him when Joseph finally made himself known to his brothers. He wept so loudly that the Egyptians outside the room heard it, and the news of the commotion in the governor's house soon reached the courts of Pharaoh. Through his tears, he spoke to his brothers, not in the harsh Egyptian tongue they had grown to fear, but in their own native Hebrew, the language of their childhood. "I am Joseph," he declared. "Is my father still alive?" His brothers were frozen. They could not answer him, for they were dismayed and terrified in his presence. This was not possible. The powerful man they had been bowing to, the Lord who held their lives in his hands, was the very same brother they had callously sold into slavery 2 decades ago. The crime they thought was long buried had just risen from the grave and was now the second most powerful man in the world. They were certain their end had come. Seeing their terror, Joseph's tone softened. "Come near to me, please," he said. And as they hesitantly drew closer, he repeated the words that would change everything. "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt." And then, as they braced for a righteous vengeance, Joseph delivered a message of incomprehensible grace. "And now," he said, "do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life." He explained the divine vision that his suffering had finally allowed him to see. "It was not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house and ruler over all the land of Egypt." He revealed the full scope of the prophecy. There were still 5 years of devastating famine to come. Their survival, and the survival of the entire region, depended on the plan he had put in place. "So hurry," he commanded, "and go up to my father and say to him, 'Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, you and your children and your grandchildren, and your flocks and your herds, and all that you have. There I will provide for you." With his true identity revealed, the dam of emotion finally broke. He fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. And he kissed all of his brothers and wept upon them. After that, his brothers, finally understanding, were able to speak with him. The news of the reunion quickly reached Pharaoh's ears, and he was pleased. He confirmed Joseph's offer, commanding the brothers to return to Canaan and bring back their father and their entire households. He promised them the best of the land of Egypt and provided them with wagons, provisions for the journey, and fresh garments. To his brother Benjamin, Joseph gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 changes of clothes. And to his father, he sent a great bounty of donkeys laden with the best things of Egypt. As his brothers departed, Joseph gave them one final wise instruction: do not quarrel on the way. They journeyed back to Canaan and came to their father Jacob. The news they delivered was so shocking, so impossible, that at first Jacob's heart was numb and he could not believe them. "Joseph is still alive," they told him, "and he is ruler over all the land of Egypt." But then he saw the proof. He saw the great Egyptian wagons that Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And Israel said, with a heart overflowing with a joy he never thought he would feel again, "It is enough. Joseph my son is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." The broken family was finally on the road to being whole again, all through a plan that turned the greatest of betrayals into the most profound of salvations.